Hello and welcome. This is Amanda, the Nerdy Krafter, and I am here today because I got an invite to work with Miss Debbie. She is in the Art Impressions Way group, and she's been posting different projects last year to try to get us back into using our supplies. And she had an idea for this first month of January, and we'll see if we can continue on through the year, of Make It Simple Mondays. So what she's challenging is to pull out your small watercolor small container set, or any container set, so you're not limited to just this one if you don't have this one in your collection, but showing you ways to use our sets, bring them back to life. Sometimes we watch a live in a new release and we get all the new stuff, but we forget to go back in our collections and use the stuff that we have. So the goal is to pull out a container set of your choice, a flower set of your choice. Now, I live in Arizona, so desert succulents are kind of my thing, and I have not used this set in a while, so I wanted to pull this one out. So it is the 5528 Desert Succulent set, and the watercolor small container set that we're going to be using is 4869. Now, since these are smaller elements, what I decided to do is pull in my Bible journaling foliage and flower set. I love these sets, especially for new beginners, because especially the foliage, you get 3 different sets in one. So you get the tree elements, which come in one set. You get the branch elements that come in another set, and then you get the basic foliage. So you get some grass, you get some like greenery shrubs, and a vine. So this is an amazing set. The Bible flower set, also very beautiful elements, sized down, so they work great with this size element. So the style of card, I'm using air quotes for card here, that I've chosen to do is a baseball size card, and it's called an artist trading card, and it starts at 2.5 by 3.5. So I always keep a set of them pre-cut and ready to go. You can take these small elements and you can add them to a card later. I won't be adding them during the live, but I may come back in later and turn them into cards so you can see that. But I just don't want you to feel like, oh my goodness, I have to do this and do a card all at one time. So that is where we're going to go with today's project. And for our container, let's see, which one did I want to start with? I think I want to start with this little guy. So it's this element here is what we're going to start with. And then in the container set, now this one I have not even used yet. Oh, I don't think I've used any of my small containers. I use some of the smaller containers in other sets. I just have not pulled this one out. Again, use what we have, pull our collection out. That's what this Make It Simple Monday is all about. Pull something out and make something, make it simple. So I'm going to do this little bucket here. And I'm going to show you a few different ways. You'll see here, a lot of times you'll leave a white in the center. I'm going to show leaving a light source kind of at a diagonal. I'm going to show us some different ways to add embellishments, whether they're the lines on our container. This one, you'll see a lot of light sourcing in different areas. So I'm going to explore some different things with this project and this challenge also. So I always look at my paper. So one side of your paper is more textured, and you can kind of see the shadow. If you move it around, you can kind of see shadows on it. And then the other side is more smooth. Depending on what I'm doing is depending on what side of the paper that I'm working on. So if I'm doing trees in a background, so like a landscape, I may use more of the texture, so it adds more texture to your piece of art. If I'm doing more of a painting or people, I generally use a smoother side of my paper, because then it allows me to have more smooth, even texture to it. So that's kind of what I'm going with. I know I've showed this in previous videos, and I think I'm going to do a video on this here shortly, and it's the Tombow color wheel. Kendra did a video on this in the Back to Basics years ago, but I went ahead and digitized it so it's easy to use, and I'm going to do a blog post where I'll post this, so if anybody wants to print it and do it themselves, they can. But I'll walk you through how I fill this in, or I can do a link to Kendra's video that she did. So, but this is one of the color wheels, so I always pull this out when I'm trying to figure out what colors I want to use in my project. So this is a little watering can, so I'm going to go with a gray. So I want to go more with a silver gray. So I'm going to pull out my 565 and my 969 to come up with that gray combo. Now, I worked on the Craft Roulette 300 episode last week, and they had 90s colors, so they were very bright and festive. So I'm gonna kind of go a little bit wild with this. I'm gonna pull in my 725, and then one of my hiccups. One of my blue greens that I really love is this 346. So I'm gonna pull that one in, and I may pull in a little bit of the yellow. I want to go bright with this succulent. And my colors may not be realistic to real life. I don't know flowers. Debbie is amazing. If you ask her, hey, how can I turn a flower from one of the sets into this type of flower? She can do that for you. She is a master. She sent me some amazing pictures of different flowers that she's constructed different stamps with. That's not me. I'm quick, fast, simple, and I just do what makes me happy and feels good. So each of us has to do what works for us, and that is why this project and this art medium is so easy. It's so fun. Don't be intimidated by it. It's only paper. Get in there and try it. So I'm just going to clean off. I generally am a team eyeball, so I do not always bring in my stamp positioner, but we will have it handy in case I choose to use it. And I may, when I'm putting my succulent into the pot, just because so I can get a good eye on where I want it. I always try to use the smallest block possible. So some of my videos I won't talk through, and I'll just let you watch, and I may speed parts of it up. But especially for this first one, I want to talk you through kind of my methodology, why I do things, how I do things, so you can also, learn a little bit more. Especially we have so many new people in the art impressions world. Let's get you in here the first time, help you understand what we're doing and why we're doing. So the first thing that is paramount in this medium is water control. So let's go through water control first. So I have a little bottle here. So this is an old prescription bottle. I like it because it's airtight and I can travel with it. Or not airtight, watertight, so it won't spill when I'm traveling. So the very first time is the only time I go past the metal. You'll hear everybody kind of give you different recommendations. So the very first time I dip, I do go past the metal, and I come in and I swirl this around. And you may be able to see little air bubbles coming out when I'm swirling it out. I'm not being mean, but I want to open up those bristles. I want to make sure that they're opening up. So I am splaying them out, being very gentle, but I don't want any air bubbles left in between there. Because if you get air bubbles left, then you're going to get little skips in your project. Okay, so this first time I'm going to make sure I really get that dried off. And I generally wear black pants so I can wipe my hands on it. You'll see Bonnie very frequently, and I'm the same way. She's taught me well to clean my stamps with my fingers. And so by the end of the day, you may have some ink on your fingers. I learned from the master. So wash your hair, a little Dawn Power Wash will take that right off. So don't fret. If there are water-based markers, you're good. Okay, so the next time I dip my brush, I only dip it in halfway. So I never go back up fully. I go in halfway. When I'm teaching classes, I find a lot of times people just go and do this little tip. That's not enough water. So when you dip, it's halfway, pull out, and then pinch off. Now when I'm pinching, I just want to get all that extra little water that's sitting on there that's going to blob onto my project. I'm not strangling it. And that's why you want to do it with your fingers versus a paper towel, because you want to feel how much water is left on your brush. So it's just come in and just wipe off lightly, very little pressure. So you can see my fingers are just barely touching together and pulling. So I'm not squeezing it. I'm not not getting my fingers all red, and I'm not getting really aggressive with it. It's just to slide that extra water right off there. So hopefully that helps. I got this little chopstick holder, and I got a brand new one. I got to go find it. I went to Tokyo and Japan this year, and I got one that's Lilo and Stitch, so I need to find that one and bring that in. But I have this one here that I got from, I think, Pear Blossom Press is where I got this. And it's just a great little chopstick holder to hold my brush while I'm working on projects. All right, so for silver, it's going to be brown first, then blue second. So what I want to do is for my bucket, I'll just make sure I've got him lined up pretty good here. I'm going to swipe over my bucket with the brown. And again, lazy crafter, so I'm just going to use the back side of my paper to stamp that off. I might do it like a 1.5. And I'm going to bring in my blue. And I'm going to first stamp off, and you can see nice and dark. Then I'm going to bring this in, kind of line it up where I want. I am team eyeball, so let's see, one full. So I am centered right now on the number 5, so I can kind of use that as my guide. And I'm just going to let this sit here for a second. I'm not pressing hard on it. I'm just giving it a second for that ink to come in and set down. Because I've stamped it off a couple of times, that helps out with the color, letting it kind of settle a little bit. So I have a choice now whether I can watercolor this and then stamp my next image, or I can stamp my next image and then go back and watercolor it all. I think I'm going to stamp my next image first. And I go back and forth how I do it. There's no rhyme or reason. And I am going to be good and not be too much of a team eyeball and bring in my stamp positioner for this. So for my succulent, I want him to have a darker background on the outside also. So I'm going to do, let's do the brown base. So I'm going to put blue on first. And then brown. So I'm doing the opposite. So the watering can is more of a gray. This is more alive, so it's going to be more of a brown base. Again, I'm double stamping that. Oh, I shouldn't have double stamped it because now I need to line it up on here, but that's okay. Because I do want it kind of to be light, so I may need to go in a little bit more with that. Okay. So I need to hold this up so I can see it, so otherwise my head will get in. You know, I need to darken that up. So blue first, then brown. I shouldn't have stamped the second one off because I'm actually stamping it off on the stamp positioner. Okay. See, officially cleaning with my fingers to start the day off. It's okay. Do as I say, not as I do. Isn't that an old adage that we should be following? Okay, so I'm lining up my little jig right in the corner of that L bracket. I line up my little stamp, so I kind of line that up and I'm tapping that into that jig, so I'm right up at the top and right off on the right hand side, and then I stamp down there. I've got a decent stamp of that now, so I know where she lands. I'm going to go down a little bit so she is over the top of my my pail. So since she's going to be going down a little bit into my pail, then I need to pull in my Post-it note tape, and I want to cover that up so that it goes in the pail, not on top of the pail. Okay, so she's going to come in at a little bit of an angle. I'm going to place my positioner there, pull out my extra, have on my stamp to reactivate the ink, and then I'm going to press and hold that down for just a second. Again, this is a second stamp. I'm not pressing very hard. I'm just holding it down and letting it attach. Beautiful. And now she's inside the bucket there. All right. And I may come back with some little extra foliage on the outside. I haven't quite figured this out yet. We're going with it. So let's do the bucket first. So I am going to bring in some more of the gray. So again, 2 strips of blue, a half strip of the brown. I'm going to grab a little bit, and this is just the tip now, and I'm not pinching this off so I can mix this together and make it super light. And I'm going to tap a lot of that off on the side here because I really don't want any of that on my brush. And I'm going to pull in from the sides. I'm doing a flicking technique to flick in from the sides. For this one, I'm going to leave the round in the center because it's rounded. So we want to have a concave look to it, a round look. And to get that, you need to make your eyes think that it's rounded. And the best way to do that is to leave a light white source on there. Come in right at the top here. Darken that in. Layering this color up. Just flicking some more color in. Now, the reason I do a flick, so let me show you my rationale for a flick. So if I do a straight line and I do a flick, when I go to blend that out with just some water, so I'm cleaning my brush, dipping it in water. So when I try to move this color and work it out, I have to work very, very hard to get a straight line to blend. And you can still see the straight line. But with the flick, see how there's some uneven surfaces here? If I come in and work that in, it blends in a lot easier. I get gradation of colors, and I don't get that flat line that's left behind. And I'm going to hold that up a little closer so you can see that. So it helps eliminate that. That is the rationale why I do that. So now, on my rounded edge, the darkest side is going to be the outside edge. So I've got a clean brush now, and I'm going to come in and just push that color back. So I flick it in, and then I push it back. So it's going to bring a little bit of the light into the center. It's lightening it up the center, and it's pushing back my dark to that outside edge. Remember, move your paper. I can always pinch off if I got too much color on there, or clean my brush. Don't mess up your wrist by trying to get yourself in all concave ways. Perfect. All right. And I just have a paper towel here. Clean up that gray so I don't get mixed up. I'm going to bring in my 993, my 346, and I do have a palette that I travel with, but when I'm at home working, I love my GlassBoard Studio's glass mat. It's magnetic, so I can bring in and hold my project down while I'm working on it. So I love it, and I just use this as my palette. At some point, I'm going to have them design me one that has like a palette off on the side, but I haven't done that yet. So this is the brand new one I got for Christmas. It's a sparkly one. I have another one underneath that's gray. It's one I use for traveling. But oh my goodness, absolutely love this. Highly recommend it if you do not have a magnetic glass mat. This is my ultimate favorite. Now I do need to be careful because these lines on here are using pens. So I want to stay kind of away from them. I'm going to pinch off, clean my brush real quick because I'm bringing in the yellow. So the only time where I really get kind of aggressive in my cleaning of my brush is reds and yellows, because yellow will pick up any other color and turn it brown, and red just does not go away. Other than that, I don't care if my colors mix a little bit. We use such a little bit of ink on these projects that it's okay. We use 90% of it on our paper before we even grab more ink. So there's not a whole lot left. So I'm just putting a little bit of this yellow kind of right down the center of here. Now, these are smaller images, so in theory, I can bring in my smaller #1 brush. I'm just kind of lazy, and I just tend to use my #4 all the time. I have like 3 different varieties of the #4, and each of them feel a little bit different, but it is my favorite brush, so that is just what I go with. I want to bring this pink in at the tip. Now, I did get an inspiration piece off of Pinterest. I went out there and looked for succulent cards, and I found a card that did something very similar to this. It's not an art impressions card. I can look at landscape pictures. I can look at Pinterest. Pinterest is my favorite for getting some inspirations. It's how I did a lot of my advent calendar this year, because they're brand new stamps. So I can't go to art impressions and say, how did your artist do this? How did your design team do this? So I kind of had to figure it out. Live on the wild side. Remember, it's only paper. It's okay. So clean brush, scribbling that out a little bit, blending those edges together. Clean that brush. Flicking the color back down into the bucket. And that is a little bit more watery. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of pool of water on there, so I'm going to give that just a second to dry. I am going to bring in a 526 to give it a little sky around, but let me look at my other sets that I have here. We're trying to keep it super simple so you don't have to have all this. But sometimes you just need a little bit of extra. I should have one more set out, but I put it in a very safe place. I love when we put things in safe places because then you can't find out. Here we go. So I was thinking there's another desert set here, and it has this little piece to it. So I think I'm going to bring that one in also, because I think just adding a little bit of that tipping out will be really pretty. So don't tell Debbie that I'm bringing in extra things. She won't mind. She's like, just keep it simple. I'm like, okay, I can do simple. I love quick, fast, simple. So now the thing that I love about these stamp set is that we use a pen with this. So I'm just doing a very small piece of this. I'm just doing the little tip of it, because I just want a hint of this sneaking out from the edges. I always place my block down when I'm adding color, and I do 2 to 3 swipes with the side of my brush. I never go in with the tip of my brush. It's the side of my brush pen. 1, 2, 3. You can do 3 to 5. Kind of just depends. 2, 3. One more. So this is going to be an even number instead of an odd. It's all good. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Now, when I'm adding the color for the first time, so with these, I don't want to completely wash it out where I have no dimension or texture. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Breathe. Give it a second. If when the water settles, it dries back a little bit, you're like, ooh, I need a little bit more, you can go in and add a couple more places. But stop. The hardest part with this is leaving white and stopping. You can always go back. Now, if I've overwatered it and I've lost all of my texture, I can bring my stamp back in and stamp over it again. So you do have options. It is fixable. And I'm going to bring in just a little bit of sky here. And it's the hint or the perception of sky. It does not need to be from edge to edge, top to bottom. This is more of a wet technique, so I've added more water. So I'll do it one of two ways. So I'll either add the water to the palette, or I'll add the water to the paper first and then bring in the color. So this is the time when you're going to see what I call smooches or blobs of color in water. This does take just a hair longer to dry than the normal project, and that's okay. Bring in the 565. This is like a purple blue. Absolutely love this one. And I use this one kind of as the underside of my clouds. The underside of my clouds are going to be darker. So it's going to have some darkness built in where the shadows are in between. I'm just using my imagination. I'm not doing perfect light sourcing. I'm not stressing. I don't care if the person getting my card is that obsessive OCD about light sourcing and the clouds, the shadows aren't in the right place. They're not a person that deserves to get my card. It's all about having fun. And remember, we said quick, fast, simple. Don't overthink it. Okay? I did bring in an extra element. Don't tell Debbie. I'm going to bring in my little grass from my Bible journaling set. Let's do the 177. I've got that one out. I usually do the 249, but I'm going to bring in the 147. So with my grass, I'm going to start closest to my bucket and do 5 in a line out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, swipe 1, 2, 3. I did 4, 3.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm doing it in a line. So I can do it in a line, I can do it in an arch, can kind of mix it up however I want. And I may do a little bit of an element down underneath too. We don't want our pot to be floating out in outer space. So I do like to bring in, ground it a little bit. Bring in a little bit Just holding this in place. So with my grass, I'm going to flick my grass up, and I may get a little bit of color on my wrist because I got these colors on here. It's okay. So I'm going to flick this, and I want to go as tall as I can. So I over exaggerate my grass, and I'm going to go in multiple directions. So my first 3 or 4 is going kind of off to the right on this side, and then I'm going to come in and flick it going the other direction. So they kind of crisscross. Grass does not grow all in a straight line. And this is the very tip of my brush. Like I said, I am way over exaggerating these. It's the way that I like my grass to grow. Then I'm going to come in underneath, and I'm just going to scribble, bring some of that down. And I think they call it like the hurricane, where you kind of scribble it down. I'm going to bring in just a hint of the brown. So I can do the brown, or I can build up some more of that gray again and build a little bit of the gray for it to sit on. Just so it's not floating in outer space. Give it grounded a little bit. Grab just some water. And blend that down. All right, I'm going to go in with my little twin tone. Sign this, and oh my goodness, to sign 26. I think I signed one of them the other day. Oh, I didn't do my other one from the Craft Roulette. I did one of our little critters, and I didn't sign him. But it's going to be very difficult for me to remember to sign the correct year. I mean, I know we're here, but my brain's still not quite here yet. I love a good distressed edge to my projects, so I'm bringing in my Captain Pooler icing on the cake. I have over coffee, all different kinds. I do Tim Holtz distress inks, whatever brown is. Brown's my go-to. I use it for everything. So I just like to come in, add a little dimension around the outside of my card. I can go in with any of our not Bible journaling, our journal line. There's great dies in there. So maybe I'll pull in one of our dies at some point and do like a decorative edge on one of these. If you have a baseball sleeve holder, you can place these in one of those baseball sleeves and just have a collection of different little mini projects you've done. And now I can take this, I can layer it up, place it on a card, let it be really the highlight of the card. And this is absolutely gorgeous. I do want to bring in a little bit. So as it's drying back, I noticed that my turquoise is kind of dulled out a little bit. And I want that to be a little more vibrant. So I'm just going to tap in a little bit more of that. The nice part about this is it's watercolor. So until I treat it, and it stays standard. So when I bring in and I treat it, there's some Tim Holtz products that I use for that. Aerosol, hairspray. I think people have said Vaseline will treat it so that the colors won't change anymore. Lots of different ways to treat it so that way your project will stay, especially if you're mailing them. So there we go. Thank you so much for joining me. It's Make It Simple Monday. Today's was a little bit longer because I wanted to walk you through everything. But the next few will just be a little bit shorter. I may not do as many discussion points with it. But thank you so much for following me. I look forward to seeing what you make on Make It Simple Monday. Remember, grab your products, pull them out, do quick, fast, and simple. You got it. Take care and have a great day.